Yes, I am muted. Thank you very much, chat. So great start to the stream already. Professional stream, everyone, and welcome once again to the ORL All-Star Race. We're going to have a few of the top drivers in our F1 community join us today for a set of challenges, if I can call them that. We are also going to have the Real Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois with us today, and it's certainly going to be a fun one for us this afternoon. I can see chat is quite animated at the moment. I'm sorry, Gaunt, for trolling you like that. As I can see, you thought your headphones weren't working, but we can get started and provide the audience some information regarding today's event. So we are going to be doing a little bit of an introduction with the round 1 at the Hungary ring. We are going to Hungary for the first event, and it's going to be an interesting one because the grid is going to be set from the start. It will be a custom grid, which I will show you in a few moments time. But the twist on the race is that it's going to be dry conditions, but every driver will have to use every compound available. So at least for one lap, the drivers must use a set of softs, mediums, hards, intermediates, and wets. So a little bit of strategy comes into play. Who will use what compound and when and for how many laps, because you need to use them at least once, but of course you probably want to get the intermediates and wets out of the way as quickly as you can. Or are you going to take advantage of the fact that the car is lighter on fuel to try and minimize the time loss on those intermediates and Pirelli full wet tires? So it's going to be interesting to see how each driver is going to tackle the challenge. 25% length of the race. Then we are going to move to Singapore, also 25% length compared to real life Grand Prix, and we are going to have a reverse of the top 15 from the Hungarian Grand Prix. So the top 15 get reversed. Who gets first place starts from 15th at the Marina Bay circuit. So it's going to be interesting as well to see who can get back through the field. Of course, a street circuit is always going to be challenging for the drivers. So it's quite interesting to see how the drivers are going to perform at this track. And then at the end, if we are able to, if we have time to do so, we are going to also the Spa-Francorchamps, of course, a classic circuit. It's always nice to come back here, and a bit of a fan favorite, if I can say that. So yeah, it's always fun to race at Spa. That one is going to be a five lap race at the end with a one-shot qualifier. So that one will be pure performance, who can be the best driver, and of course take the crown, if I can say that, take the championship or the event's crown, as we do have well, a points table. As you can see, we can have the first place start from 20 start with 25 points, then the second with 21, the third place finisher gets 18, the fourth gets 16, the fifth gets 14, and you can see the table. So right there through the end, and the 15th place gets 1 point. So only the bottom 5 are not able to score, and we do have quite a few close gaps between the places. It's not 25 to 18 points as it is in real life and in more conventional formats, of course, for these events. So it's not as steep of a disadvantage if you lose out some points to the guys up ahead in the first race. You can also recover, especially with the reverse grid format. You can get a lot done and gain quite a few points, and well, we'll have it all to play for at the last race of the session at Spa-Francorchamps. And with that, we can get ourselves going to a bit of an introduction for our drivers, as we have Patryk for the Mercedes, Dirk Chocolate and Paris Burel are going to be representing Milton Keynes and the Red Bull Ignars, and Sevi are going to be racing for the Maranello Scuderia, Pablo Armengol and Balati are going to be racing for McLaren. At the Silverstone base, Aston Martin, we have Daniele Haddad and Thibaut Courtois, and for the Alpine we have Hydro and KaarMar representing the French squad. At AlphaTauri, it's going to be Jan Feiler and Be Good representing the Faenza squad. Gersong and Scali are going to be racing for the IMWheel based team in Alfa Romeo. At Haas, it will be Dani Bereznay and Timbo, and for Williams it will be Perez and Rorpa representing the Groove based squad. And yeah, we are going to later on take a look at the grid. We are still waiting for everything to get ready, as we get just another scroll through the teams, so anyone has a chance to catch up with that. But yeah, still in the formation procedures for our event. The lobby isn't complete at the moment, so I'm just waiting for the drivers to come join us. And well, anything you have to say in chat, you absolutely can. Any questions? So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I can see the spam in chat, so someone is very excited, which I believe is the monitor. I can't. I'm not sure. Let me just confirm that. Yes, it is. Everyone is very excited about the new monitor from BenQ, so that's why the spam is going on. I can see everyone very excited for that one. But yeah, let us know anything in chat, any questions. Of course, we are going to, after these events, be interviewing some of our guests, as we are going to have an interview with Thibaut Courtois, with Dani Bereznay, and with Daniele Haddad. So we are going to also have the words or their feelings from the drivers post event, and see what get their view of what happened or what will happen this afternoon. So with that, I would like for you guys to tell me in chat, who do you believe will be the champion? If you want some way too early bets, we can get ourselves going with some predictions from you guys. Who do you believe will be on top at the end of this event? Once again, if any of you arrived a bit late, once again, we are going to be racing at Hungary. It's going to be a 25% race with a custom grid start. We are going to put our Thibaut Courtois at the top of the standings. We are going to put him in pole position, and I'm going to show you the remainder of the grid as we get closer to the start of it, or to the start of the race. 25% race distance, and we are going to go through every single compound available. So for at least a lap, the drivers need to be on the softs, mediums, hards, intermediates and full wets, and the track will be raced at in dry conditions. Then the top 15 of the first round will get reversed, only the top 15, and we are going to have another 25% race distance events at the Marina Bay circuit at Singapore. So always a tricky circuit, of course one of the longest laps in the calendar. So basically it's a mixture. If Monaco and Spa had a baby, it would be Singapore. It's the lap is as long as Belgium, but you have to be very careful with the walls, as you must do in all street circuits. So I can see a lot of support for Zetmir, so I guess that is the chat's favorite at the moment. But yeah, to round 3 we are going to Spa-Francorchamps. That one will be a one-shot qualifying with a 5-lap race, and of course to determine who will come out on top, just a reminder, we do have a table. So going to take a look at that one. I can apologize for that, but yeah, as you can see, we have a point system, and as you can see, just as a reminder as well, who gets first starts from P15 for the second event, the second place we start to P14, and so on, as you can see as well. So yeah, this is how we are going to define the champion of this all-star event. And yeah, the support keeps coming in from Zetmir, and it's going to be a fun one, especially the first event. I am really interested to see how the drivers will handle it. Of course, a lot of strategy will come into it. Will everyone get rid of the wet compounds right away and try to do as many laps as they can on the other compounds, or will they go for like a soft or medium start and try to pull away from everyone on the soft tires, and with a lighter car maybe it could be more manageable to defend or to not lose as much of a gap at the end of the race. So it's going to be interesting. Of course, Thibaut is going to be starting on pole at Hungary, and this is a track that's not really known for overtaking, so it's quite difficult. Some call it Monaco without the barriers, right? So, and I believe that is for a reason. So it's going to be tough to overtake around here, unless you can get a big advantage from, of course, this strategic decision of when to be on the wet compound. So yeah, Zetmir is still on the top of the table, still going with some support. So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting if he can get on top this afternoon. He's going to have tough competition, and we are about I believe, yeah, just waiting a bit more for all the drivers, just taking a look at the state of everything. So at the moment, Zetmir, this is the chat favorite, but we are still missing one of the Haas drivers. I believe Daniele Bereznay are still guest. Thibaut Courtois is going to be paired up with Daniele Haddad at the Aston Martin squad. So he's going to be racing in British Racing Green this afternoon. And yeah, as you can see in chat, just a bit of a small delay, going to be waiting for Thibaut Courtois. But while we wait for a bit longer, just going to get you, I can see also the excitement in chat about BenQ's new monitor. So we are going to have a few promotional segments from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Apologies for the delay. We are still waiting for our guest Thibaut Courtois, so we can start the event. But for any of you who have arrived a bit later than the start of this stream, remind everyone of the information or the format of this event. So taking a look once again at the tracks. First, we are going for Magyar Nagdi. We are going for the Hungarian Grand Prix, for the Hungaroring, and this one is going to be, for me, the most interesting one out of the bunch. 25% race distance. The grid we are going to be, it's going to be custom. We are going to show you to everyone the grid soon, but we are going to have that 25% race distance, and every driver must go for one lap on each compound of tires. So one lap on softs, one on mediums, one on hards, one on intermediates, and one on the Pirelli Cinturato Blue or the Pirelli Full Wets. They must do at least one lap on these compounds, and of course, who wins is going to be starting from 15th at Singapore, because we are going to have the reverse grid. Of course, it's still going to be 25% race distance at the Marina Bay circuit, and it's going to be a normal, so to speak, race. No other strategic elements regarding the tires, just a normal race, but the top 15 will be inverted from the results of race 1, and then we are going for a 5-lapper at Belgium, preceded by a one-shot qualifying session. So that is going to be the format for today. We do have a points system, so we can determine who will win these events, these all-star events. And just taking a look once again at our teams. For start, we have Patryk, Krutyj and Zetmir at Mercedes. At Milton Keynes Red Bull, it will be Dark Chocolate and Paris Viorel. After that, at Maranello, it's going to be Ignars and Sevi representing Ferrari. Then at McLaren, it's Pablo Armengol and Balati representing the Woking-based squads. Daniele, Haddad and Thibaut Courtois at the Silverstone-based Aston Martin. Then representing the French and Alpine will be Hydro and KaarMar. Then Jan Feiler and Be Good will be representing the Faenza-based AlphaTauri. At Alfa Romeo will be Gersong and Scali driving for the IMWIL-based team. Then at Haas it will be Dani Bereznay and Timbo, and at last but not least the Groove-based Williams will be Perez and Rorpa driving for it. So we do have quite an interesting lineup of drivers for today, and I can still see that the support for BenQ's brand new monitor is still getting more support than any other driver. So unfortunately, it looks like the support for BenQ is stronger than the support for Zetmir at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to see what the drivers can achieve this afternoon. So we are still waiting for for Courtois to make his appearance, and we are going to be starting the race shortly, so the first of 3 rounds. And for now, I'm going to take a look at the second half of the grid. I'm going to be taking a look at the second half of the grid. So looking from the back, it's going to be Daniele Haddad in P20, Dani Bereznay in P19, Scully in 18th place, Paris Burel starts from 17th, then we have Krutyj in 16th place, Jan Feiler in 15th, Perez in 14th place, and Rolpa starting in 13th, and we are going to get the top of the grid revealed a bit later on in this stream, and we are going to have, again, apologies for the wait, but well, not much we can do about that, and soon, hopefully, we can get our racing underway. So just updating everyone on the state of things and on the format of the event, and we'll be right back for a few words from our sponsor. Hello everyone, welcome back to this broadcast of the ORL R-Star race. And we have news. We are going to be starting soon because Thibaut Courtois is already with us in the lobby. So it's going, finally, we are going to be able to get going with affairs today. And just a reminder once again of the grid. So we are going to have Daniele Haddad starting in P20 with Bereznay, then Scully and Patryk in the second to last row of the grid, then Patryk, Krutyj and Jan Failer in P15 and 16th, then Rorpa and Perez in the seventh row of the grid, and then the top 12, which will be Timbo and Pablo Armengol, then Balati and Dirk Chocolate, Gersong and Ignars, then Sevi and Be Good, and in fourth place KaarMar, in third place Hydro, in second place a bit of a fan favorite Zetmir, and on pole position will be Thibaut Courtois. Let's not forget, this is our custom grid for this first event. We are going to the Hungaroring, and we are going to be racing 25% race distance around here, and each driver will have to post at least a lap on each compound, even the wet and the intermediate tires, but the conditions on track are going to be dry. So I'm really interested to see how the drivers are going to be tackling this challenge, if I can say that. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the drivers are going to tackle that. But here we are then at the Hungaroring. Of course, a length of 4.3 kilometers or 4,381 meters, 14 corners, only one DRS zone. A rare occasion in the F1 calendar that we only have one DRS zone for our drivers. The lap record is a 1 minute 16.6 posted by Lewis Hamilton in 2020 with his Mercedes W11. And for today, the drivers are going to be using the C2 tires as the hards, the C3s as the mediums, and the C4s as the softest compound available for our drivers. So getting ourselves into the lobby, if I can say that, and soon we are going to get ourselves started with the race. Just a few moments for the drivers to load up their setups, get through their race strategies, and I can see that Zetmir, for the look of those Pirellis on his side of the garage, I believe Zetmir is going to be starting on the mediums. I'm not sure if that's actually what's going to happen. No, it's actually on the soft, so there's no correlation there. I thought there was some correlation there, but nonetheless, we're going to get ourselves started with the affairs. And for the tires, as you can see, it's going to be only 4 drivers not starting on the hards. Apologize for that, just bringing something up. And yeah, only 4 drivers not starting on the hards. So Thibaut Courtois, Zetmir, Gerson and Yanni Vitsaniemi are going to be the only ones not starting on the hards. So I'm interested to see if everyone else, the drivers on the hards, are they going to do the entire race on hards and then for the last 4 laps go for the medium, soft, intermediate and wets. I'm really interested. But the top 2 can pull away. The top 2 can pull away from the pack if they are able to put some good pace. So we also have Bereznay and Haddad, Patryk, Zoltan Boda as well, starting from the back. So Pablo Armengol in P11. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be quite fun to see how these drivers progress through the pack. A track that is not very easy to progress through the pack. Let me know in terms of the sound of the game compared to our voice. Just let me know if the audio balance is okay. I'll do my best to change things up as we get through the race. So let's get ready then for the Magyar Nagidi, and it's going to be a fun one for sure, especially once the drivers start going for the intermediates and for the full wets. So Daniele Haddad will be the driver bringing up the rear at the moment. The last driver getting on his great slot. His teammates in pole position, so the entire grid is in a bit of a Aston Martin sandwich at the moment. Just waiting the final moments before race control. Let us light up the red lights, and there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Hungarian Grand Prix. A slow start there from Thibaut Courtois. Zetmir is already at the front of the pack. Hydro is trying to challenge the Real Madrid goalkeeper into turn number 1. They are side by sides, both number 2s. Ooh, a bit of a tangle there at the back. Hydro almost lost the rear end coming out of turn 1. Thibaut Courtois has still to give up the spot. He might be forced to give up another one, but there's contact with Be Good, and there's chaos. There's also Patryk getting involved in that. Be Good goes at the back, Patryk as well. Be Good is in last place. Gerson already got penalized, and a bit of a turn there as Bereznay side by side with a bunch of drivers. Patryk Krutyj as well with Nardi Perez right behind the Haas, as Daniele Haddad already in P15 has a brilliant view of this battle. There's a touch, there's contact with Nardi Perez, and he's off for a spin. Hopefully no damage. Be Good has to take evasive actions there. Ooh, and he's struggling with some grip as he probably overheated those tires. But at the front, it is Zetmir. Thibaut Courtois doing well, using the soft tires to resist the charge of the ones behind him. Pablo Armengol, I believe, just had a swap of positions with Yorpa coming through turn number 13. And look at all the drivers coming into the pits. So I believe all the medium starters are going into the pits, all the hard starters rather, going into the pits. Gerson also not going into the pits. Dani Bereznay is the only driver who started on the hards to still go on at this point. And look at this, Jan Feiler, Be Good, I believe are the only drivers so far. No, it's Jan Feiler and Timbo, the only drivers to change for mediums. Hydro changes for inters, and Ignars changes for full wet. So this is going to be mighty interesting. KaarMar just overtook Nardi Perez in the battle between the last of the hard tire starters. And Ignars is already getting overtaken by Jan Feiler. He might be under threat from Dorpa behind him. Let's take a look at Timbo, who is surely going to make some inroads on the drivers ahead of him. And there's already a crash. Darn! As a moment coming out of turn number 4. Look at this, Yorpa side by side, and there's 3 wides there with Timbo getting through. Yorpa and Ignars have their work cut out for them. Ooh, that's a massive slide from Yorpa there, just channeling his inner inspiration there from Tokyo Drift. Managed to catch that slide. Very good, very nicely done from the Spaniard. And we have drivers in the pits already. So Dani Bereznay in the pits, Nardi Perez in the pits, and a KaarMar in the pits. So let's take a look what tires they are switching to. Dani Bereznay goes into the full wets, the Pirelli marked in blue. KaarMar follows him, and Jan Feiler goes for the mediums. Now Timbo, does he pit? No, Timbo does not. Where will these drivers re-emerge on the track? Dani Bereznay maintains P6 despite being undercut by his own teammate. So Timbo, despite the undercut, he still maintains that P6. And many drivers at the back, all the ones who were on the full wets, just went into the pits. Gerson and Jani Vitsaniemi swapped positions as the softs have the advantage at the moment. But now Timbo is closing in mighty fast on Dani Bereznay. Let's take a look. Bereznay doesn't pose too much of a threat. Of course, the tire performance difference is enormous, and Timbo pulls away with it. Now further back at Armengol, who is on intermediates. Daniele Haddad in P15 on the mediums. He gets the better run than Boda, and now he's side by side with Armengol. He's going for it around the outside. Nicely done, and there's a spin from Hydro. Hydro spins there and loses out massively, especially as he's on the full wets. Boda is side by side with Armengol, who is going to back out. Looks like it's going to be the McLaren driver, but this duo is closing in on Hydro, who's in on the full wets, and has a further disadvantage compared to the intermediates. Armengol also side by side with the Alpine driver, and he gets the move done. Darn at the back, the other McLaren getting past Paris Burel, who has to deal with being on the intermediates at the moment, and is Be Good all over his rear wing. So they already have swapped positions. Be Good and Darn trying to get past Patryk, Krutyj at the moment. They're side by side. Be Good is a little bit boxed in, but they do get a better exit compared to Krutyj, who has to brake much earlier than the drivers on the soft tires, and they get through quite easily. Sevi and Hydro are having also a battle of their own, as they are 3 wide coming out of turn 13. Hydro there was in a sticky situation, no doubt, and that allowed Darn to challenge Be Good around the outside of turn number 14. They are going down into turn 1. Still a bit of a drag race between the two of them. I believe it's the AlphaTauri with the advantage. Will Darn be able to pull off some kind of switchback? No, he does not, and has to settle for P14 at the moment. In the meantime, we've had another big group of drivers going to the pits, as it is Yorpa, Ignars, Danny Bereznay, Daniele Haddad, KaarMar, who is on the full wets, and Nardi Perez is all over the back of him on the intermediates compared to the full wets on the Alpine, who goes for a slide. The difficulties with the traction these drivers are feeling at the moment. Be Good spots the opportunity, goes around the outside. Darn replicates the maneuver. Great maneuver there from him, and KaarMar now is ghosted, unfortunately for him, so that's going to make his rivals have a better time through all of this. Nardi Perez gets past the Mercedes and is following quite closely to the driver ahead of him, who I believe is Thibaut Courtois. Yes, it is Courtois. Courtois already lapped these drivers. Courtois hasn't pitted yet, just like Zetmir and Gerson, I believe. So Thibaut Courtois trying to make the most out of this start on the soft tires. Nardi Perez goes into the pits. Zetmir finally goes into the pits as well, and Gerson. So hopefully doesn't get held up. Quick swap onto the full wets, and Nardi Perez is going to get himself a set of softs now. Zetmir goes on full wets, Nardi Perez on softs. Krutyj goes on, sorry, that's not him, that's Nardi Perez on the softs, yeah. KaarMar in intermediates, and Zetmir and Gerson trying to make advantage of the pack by being on the softs earlier on the race. Now they are on the full wet tire, so they just tried to build a gap for the rivals, and now trying, because as you can see, he's 46 seconds ahead of Gerson, but he does have fewer pit stops, so it's going to be very interesting to see what drivers can do from here on in. Most drivers have gotten away from their intermediate and full wet laps or stages of the race, so we are going to see Zetmir get overtaken by Thibaut there right before the chicane. We also have Hydro all over the back of Sevi. Sevi does have the soft tires at the moment, so he's trying to make use of them. And Thibaut Courtois finally goes into the pits. He has Yanni Vitsaniemi right behind him, about 14 seconds down the road. Will it be enough for Courtois to hold on to the lead? Looking at the minimap, looks like he will rejoin in somewhat of P5, P6. There's also Vitsaniemi pulling off into the pits, so he's not going to lose that position. And he rejoins the track. Where does he rejoin the track? Oh, he's still P1. He's still P1 because he had lapped everybody else. So Thibaut Courtois side by side there with one of the drivers who has been lapped. I believe that is Nardi Perez that is alongside it. Yes, it is. Nardi Perez down in 19th, just unlapped himself from Thibaut Courtois, who has a massive moment coming out of turn number 3. And whew, that was scary, probably not used to the difference in grip between the softs and the mediums, and had an absolutely terrifying moment for his race right there. He managed to control the car though. Stevie in P18 is pressurizing Paris Burel as we have a bit of a train forming led by Hydro in P15 and goes all the way back to Nardi Perez in P19. All of these drivers are in a bit of a scrap at the moment. Jurzen goes into the pits, he rejoins P12 on intermediates. Zetmir is midway through his lap on the intermediates and taking a look at who has made their pit stops, and I believe, yes, the top 4 has only pitted once, so they still have plenty of tire changes to do. Vitsaniemi is on the hards at the moment, so it's going to be interesting to see how much of an advantage they can do. Yanni Vitsaniemi is on the hards. He might lose out to most of the other drivers in the field because the medium is the most popular tire at the moment, so I'm not sure how long he will be able to run on those hards without losing too much time through his rivals, because again, he still has at least 2 more pit stops, maybe even a 3rd one. Not exactly sure about that, but we're going to have to wait and see. As we continue following with Thibaut Courtois, as Jan Feiler closing in the past few laps, and he is hunting down on the Belgium driver at the moment. Courtois is holding up well through this middle sector, only lost 2/10 through this middle sector. He does have fresher tires compared to Jan Feiler, but is still doing a good job of keeping up with the pace at the moment. ORL at the back, Darn is going into the pits. Zetmir follows him. Zetmir finally gets rid of the wet compounds. Darn is on the intermediate, so DRS is available, so maybe he's trying to mitigate the effects of DRS, or sorry, the effects of being on the intermediates by keeping with DRS, but this is mighty chaotic at the moment. Paris Burel gets past him, Nardi Perez as well, as they are side by side into turn number 2. It's advantage for the Williams driver who goes wide. Paris Burel could try to respond, cannot pull the trigger on it just yet, but further at the front, it is Hydro and Zetmir side by side through turn number 5. Hydro tries the switchback, goes on the outside of turn number 6, and what a maneuver he pulled off. And there's Nardi Perez on the softest compound, trying to take advantage on Zetmir being on the yards, also gets the maneuver done. Paris Burel is now thinking that it is his turn, but it is slightly trickier to overtake around this spot of the track, despite the tire advantage that the Red Bull nurtures over the Mercedes at the moment. He's pulling off alongside him into turn 12, lunges, gets the move done, but Zetmir, he might be on the other tire, but he's no slouch. He's trying to give it back at Paris Burel, not quite able to get it done at the exit of turn 14, and 13, and they are both pulling off into the pits. Be Good did the same. He's coming out of the pits in P10 on a set of intermediates and is going to be challenged by Pablo Armengol, who squeezed a bit wide at the exit of that, but catch a much better exit. Patryk Krutyj in P12 now challenges Be Good, gets through him, and now it's Hydro and Nardi Perez who are going to have a view at the AlphaTauri. And let's see how quickly they're going to dispose of him. Hydro needs to hurry up if he's not going to contend with sharing turn number 4. Will Be Good forces Nardi a bit wide there. Hydro just says thank you very much and proceeds himself up into P13. So great maneuvering there. Be Good tried his hardest despite being on the intermediates. Daniele Haddad though started from last place. He's swapping from mediums to softs and is going to rejoin the track, I believe, in P8. So at the moment he's doing a great job of recovering through the pack. Thibaut Courtois still leads. He was losing time to Jan Feiler, but since then he gained another 3/4 tenths to the AlphaTauri in P2. So Courtois doing a great job of maintaining his lead at the moment. Daniele Haddad in P8 in a bit of no man's land, but there's a fight for the last of the top 10 places. Patryk Krutyj with DRS over Pablo Armengol gets the move done, moves up to P10. The Mercedes driver, Jan Feiler, finally goes into the pits, followed by Perez, Be Good, and Jurzen. Bigwood getting rid of his intermediates for a set of mediums. Meanwhile, his teammate went onto a set of hards. They had to double stack, but still, good job from the Faenza team's mechanics, doing a great job with that double stack. Jan Failer comes out in P4, but he goes for a spin. That's unfortunate. He's going actually to be met up by his teammate, and there goes Yorpa past Jan Failer, who drops down to P5, and this is probably what he didn't want. Bereznay and Ignars get through as well. He knew probably that he was going to lose a lot of time, but he wasn't counting on this much. That spin really threw a spanner on his potential winning chances. Zetmir started from P2, is now all the way back at P16. I'm not sure how many pit stops the drivers around him need to do, but he does have some work to do. A bit of a fan favorite at the moment, and he is currently trying to get his way up through the field. Thibaut goes into the pits. Did 9 laps on this set of mediums, so let's see what he can do. As he's going for the pit stop, and it is going for the soft. So a 6-lap sprint for him. From here on in, I believe this is the last pit stop for him, and he's just going on a bit of a sprint mode at the moment, just giving his all. Try to regain as many positions as possible. Jani Vitsaniemi is doing this lap on full wets. Ignars is on intermediates, as well as Bereznay. Ooh, there's a bit... Okay, that was a bit of a leg spike, but Bereznay is coming out of the pits ahead of the Ferrari driver. And there he joins behind Daniele Haddad, who's closing in mighty fast on Jani Vitsaniemi. Thibaut is also closing in very fast on Yorpa, and we are going to be looking at that battle in a few moments' time. Yeah, Jani Vitsaniemi doesn't pose much of a threat there, because he's on the Pirelli Cinturato Blue, or the full wets. Thibaut trying to extract the most out of these soft tires, pressurizing Yorpa quite a bit, getting into the last few corners of this racetrack. Gets now out of turn number 14. Yorpa does go on the throttle a little bit earlier, but he does have the DRS overtake mode also enabled, and is going to lunge on the inside of the Spaniard, who pulls off the switchback. Can he get on the throttle earlier? No, he cannot. The DRS from Thibaut makes sure that maneuver is done. Set in stone at the moment. Hydro pressurizing Pablo Armengol, another Spaniard coming under pressure, and Nardi Perez trying to keep him at bay despite being on the medium compound of tires. Jani Vitsaniemi loses out on another spot right before pulling off into the pits. Bereznay, Ignars, Boda and Vitsaniemi pull off into the pits at the moment. And he's going to swap for the Pirelli Cinturato Green, so they are going for the intermediates here at the Red Bull. Jan Failer does the same. Sorry, no, he's actually going to swap now. The number of laps there threw me off for a second. He's just pitting now. Let's see what tire he's switching to. He's switching for softs. So Vitsaniemi is, I believe he is the last driver to be on the intermediates. He's going to rejoin the track. Ooh, maybe right behind his teammate. Let us take a look on the track. He's side by side with his teammate. Yes, he's rejoining right ahead of Bigwood in P18. So, and Bigwood doesn't have DRS. So that's fortunate for Jan Failer with the softer, fresher tire. Keeps himself ahead. Yorpa now swaps his tires for a set of softs. He rejoins right behind Daniele Haddad in P number 4. And he is out of the DRS range at the moment, but maybe with the fresher tires he can reel Haddad in and start pressurizing the Aston Martin driver. Zetmir, bit of a fan favorite looking at chat, and he is currently pressurizing Xavi who has been at the back for most of this Grand Prix, unfortunately for him. Yanni Vatsaniam is still struggling on the intermediates, but this will be the last time he will be on the wet compounds. Vatsaniam is surely going to pull off into the pits at the end of this lap. Yes, he does. And is going to rejoin, maybe in last place, because KaarMar is being lapped at the moment. I believe that is Daniele Haddad. Yes, it is. Yes, it is Haddad. So KaarMar is being lapped at the moment, and Vatsaniam might rejoin the track being lapped as well. KaarMar also pulls off into the pits, so the strategy didn't go accordingly to plan for KaarMar, and Vatsaniam, who's about to join the track, still ahead of Haddad on track, but again, he is about to be lapped unless he can pull away, but he is second last at the moment. In the meantime, we do have Corpa pressurizing Daniele Haddad still, and unfortunately for Haddad, he didn't get the RS from Vatsaniam, so that allowed Corpa to get closer, and Thibaut Courtois goes into the pits. And let's take a look at the amount of pit stops he has made. Only one. Thibaut also did 2 pit stops, so they still have a lot of work to do. They still have a lot of work to do there at the Aston Martin garage. And Thibaut Courtois is going to be rejoining the track in the front of a massive group, but I do not believe any of this is for position. Thibaut is his closest driver, and he is further back. So yeah, that group is the group that's led by Sevi, followed by Jan Failer, Zetmir, Darn, Be Good. So there's a 5-car group there, 5 or 6 car group there, where Thibaut Courtois just joined in the middle of. And if he gets the RS, that might actually be good for at least this lap. Despite being on the hards, he might not lose as much time to his rivals. Hydro exceeding track limits, gets penalized there. And Thibaut just going on board on him for the remainder of the lap. In the meantime, Corpa overtook Daniele Haddad for P3. Let's not forget the drivers who get in the top 15 in this race will have their order reversed for the upcoming race in Singapore. And Thibaut Courtois goes into the pits. Thibaut follows him into the pits. So the next one with an opportunity perhaps to take the lead would be Corpa. So let's see where Courtois joins the track, getting serviced by his team. He's on the intermediates. I believe he also needs to go on the full wets, so he has waited until the last possible moment to go on the intermediates. Looks like Thibaut is in the same strategy, and he is going to be overtaken now by Vatsaniam. I believe that is. Yes, it is Vatsaniam, but Vatsaniam was a lap down on the duo right behind him, so he is only unlapping himself from Courtois and Thibaut. Further back, Hydro pressurizing Paris-Burel, who has had a bit of a scrap with Nardi Perez, I believe, for 10th place, advantage for the Williams driver at that point in time in specific. Patryk also trying to make a move on Boda. He does have the RS. Is he going for it? Boda goes defensive on the inside. Krutyj can't quite go for a lunge. He does stick his nose on the outside. He's going to get the RS out of turn 2. Can't quite pull it off. Hydro side by side with Paris-Burel now. Pablo Hermangol has a beautiful view of that battle as we head down into turn number 2. Paris-Burel on the inside. Hydro trying to challenge on the outside. Ooh, he goes too wide. Gives the line to Paris-Burel. Hydro exceeding himself a little bit there. Unfortunate, very unfortunate stuff from him. Corpa and Daniele Haddad going into the pits, and Haddad is changing for intermediates. What will Corpa do? Intermediates as well. So those two are on intermediates. Thibaut Courtois and Thibaut are going for the full wets, if I recall correctly. At least Courtois is. Let's take a look at Thibaut now. And he is going, he's going for the full wet, so he's on the same strategy as Courtois for this last lap of the Grand Prix. And Darn in P16 in a bit of a scrap here at the moment with Zetmir and Be Good. Boda finally had to concede 8th place, or 7th place rather, to Krutyj, and Paris-Burel still on a scrap with Hydro. Boda still going with Krutyj at the moment. Let's take a look at that fight. Thibaut is on the full west. Woo! Evasive actions there from Boda. He does get a better exit though. Can't quite get past Patryk Krutyj. And now Thibaut Courtois, he goes wide due to the full west. Gets a bit of a touch there from the Mercedes. Could have caused plenty of chaos there. Courtois managed to keep his composure though. Well done by him. And further back, Nardi Perez challenging Thibaut. But Armengol further back. His group is catching up with Thibaut. Goes wide Armengol to try to avoid him as Rorpa crosses over the line to take the win of this first event. Daniele Haddad in P2, Daniel Bereznay in P3, Ignars P4, Patryk Krutyj in P5 with Boda P6, Nardi Perez is going to claim P7, I believe. Of course, there's penalties that could alter all of this. Paris-Burel P8, Armengol 9th, Hydro in P10, Thibaut Courtois recovers to P9, and Thibaut to P10. Despite being on the full wets, their discipline and not penalizing, not exceeding track limits, he manages to get back P9 and Thibaut P10. Armengol P11, then Jan Feiler, Zetmir, Darn and Be Good. Be Good will get the pole position. Be Good will get the pole position for the next race at Singapore. Then Vitsaniemi and KaarMar in the last few spots, unfortunately for them. But Sevi, Hydro, Jerson, Vitsaniemi and KaarMar will start on the positions which they finished this race at. Only the top 15 is going to be inverted. The top 15 is the only group of drivers who scores any amount of points. Daniele Haddad is our driver of the day. He came from last place and got himself a pretty good spot. So, podium from the man who started from last place. He's starting from the back as well for Singapore. So, of course, he's starting from P14. But there's celebrations at Groove as Rorpa takes the win for himself, and the Williams team takes the full 25 points. So great job from the Spaniard. Going to take a look, as you can see, at the full positions. Rorpa, Haddad, then Dani Bereznay with Ignars, Patryk Krutyj, Zoltan Boda, Nardi Perez in P7, Paris-Burel in P8, Thibaut Courtois in 9th, and Thibaut closing the top 10. Then Armengol, Feiler, Zetmir, and Darn with Be Good starting from P15, so he gets pole for the next race. Then Sevi, Hydro, Jerson, Vitsaniemi, and KaarMar will be starting from these positions at the Marina Bay circuit. So, just as we get through the loading procedures, just a bit of a reminder that of the points, just taking a look at the points as we are going through the lobby and all that. And as you can see, we are currently looking at the table. So first place gets 25 points and we'll start from 15th place for Singapore. Let's not forget that our third event will be a 5-lap race at Belgium, but that last event will be preceded by a one-shot qualifying. So the one-shot qualifying, of course, will not be following this table or the right side of that table on the grid slot. That only affects this Singapore Grand Prix start. So first place, 25 points, starts from 15th, second 21 points, and so on, as you can see. And just as a reminder, once again, we just completed this round at Hungary. Then we are going to jump to Singapore, and Belgium will be our last round. So next up, we have the Marina Bay Street Circuit with a length of just over 5 kilometers, 5,063 meters of asphalt completes a lap, which is composed by 2 DRS zones and 23 turns. I usually say that this track is basically what would happen if Spa-Francorchamps and Monaco had a baby, really, because the lap is as long as the one at Spa, really, in terms of lap time for the most part, but it's also twisty, it's also very tight, just like a proper street circuit, so the drivers must be on their toes. They must be really focused to survive these 23 turns and then repeat them, of course, for the extent of the race. The lap record around here is a 1 minute 41.9 obtained by Kevin Magnussen in 2018 with the Haas VF-18, so that was the machinery he was using. And for this race, we do not have the requirement of using all 5 compounds, but Pirelli does supply the drivers with the C3 compound as the hardest, the C4 as the mediums, and the C5 as the softest. So just getting through the teams and the drivers once again, while we wait to get started with the second round of this event. So Patryk and Zetmir at the Brackley-based Mercedes, Dirk Chocolate and Paris-Burel will be racing for the Milton Keynes-based Red Bull. Ignars and Sevi are racing for Maranello and the Tifosi. Pablo Armengol is at McLaren alongside Balati. Then Daniele Haddad and Thibaut Courtois are at the Silverstone-based Aston Martin, with Hydro and KaarMar in the Alpine cars, followed by Jan Feiler and Be Good at the Faenza-based AlphaTauri team, followed by the IMWIL-based Alfa Romeo with Gerson and Scully representing them, and Danny Bereznay and Thibaut representing the US-based squad, with Perez and Rorpa driving the Williams machinery. So that is it for ourselves, and we are going to get back to the booth. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Just looking at chats, there's still much love for the XR 3410R, which is the upcoming product from Mobiuz or BenQ, the upcoming monitor. We just had an ad for it earlier on, and fortunately, we weren't able to get. I was forced, so to speak, to be alone for this first event, but now I have some companionship, if I can say that, for our upcoming races, and I have my fellow commentator Joana Gaunt Brito here with us today. And Joana, did you get to see any of the race? What do you have to say about this event so far?
Good evening, everyone. To be honest, I caught the start of the first event, and then I had a race of my own to get home in time for the second race. I noticed you can catch me up to it as a recap, but I think that Thibaut opted to stay out in the beginning of the race.
Yeah, he saved the wet compounds for the last 2 laps. He still managed to gain some at the end because of penalties from other drivers. The same as Timbo, who was in the same strategy. But yeah, the race was won by Rorpa, with Daniel Bereznay in 3 and Daniele Haddad 2nd place. So we are going to reverse the top 15 for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. There is no requirement for the drivers to use all 5 tire compounds, so it will be a quote-unquote more traditional race. 25% distance though, So 15 laps the drivers are going to have to achieve around the just circuit. Of course, they are going to be racing under the lights at a track that I would say is a bit of a favorite of yours, or at least a lucky one.
A very lucky one for me. You can say that. Not better as well for yourself. I mean, it's no Canada, but you like it as well as I know. Yeah, I'm quite interested to see how our drivers will deal with the walls. It's big Monaco in my book, this track. So lots of walls around our drivers during those 15 laps you mentioned. Um, but yeah, let's see if they can survive. You don't have to stop 4 times this time, but maybe some of our drivers will have to.
Yeah, the walls are always unforgiving around any street circuit. In the meantime, if we lost one of our drivers in the lobby, just yeah, we lost one of the Red Bulls. Um, so
uh, Feel free to send him and me an invite.
I don't know who he is, but the next I believe it is Dark Chocolate because he wasn't able to attend the first race, so I believe we are now waiting for him to get the lobby for the second one, and we cannot see found you. So invitation was sent. Join us. But yeah, looking at chat, I can see your chat in my second monitor. And again, after this first race, who do you believe will win the event? Of course, Horpa got the best start, he got the win, but now he's starting from P15. So things can get dicey. Daniele Haddad and Dani Bereznay started from last and second last at Hungary. They managed to grab second and third. Now they're going to start in P14 and P15. P15 for Bereznay, P14 for Haddad. So they got practiced at getting back to the field at Hungary, which is a track where it's hard to overtake. It's not as hard at Singapore, especially with that massive DRS zone on the back stretch, but they are practiced at coming back through the field. So, chat, let me know, who do you believe is in the best place to win this event at the moment? So let us know in chat. I believe Zetmir, as always, is still getting massive support in the chat. But you don't. How do you believe this one will turn out?
There is some love for Dani Bereznay as well. At least 2 or 3 people mentioning him. So let's see. This is as long as Spa, which is one of his favorites. We know that. But with the wall. So let's see how he does it. He will have to come back again, as you mentioned. So will Haddad and Thibaut. Let's see how many positions he can get, because he's not going to start at the front this one.
Yeah, not unfortunately his bet on saving the wet
Not
compounds.
unfortunately, it's a good sign.
No, but unfortunately for the race, unfortunately his bet on the wettest compounds at the end didn't work out as well as he was probably hoping for. But it is what it is. He's going to try his best for sure here at Singapore. It's a bit of a trickier track, if I can say that. But nonetheless, we are just a few moments away from the start of the race. Just waiting for another few seconds as everyone gets through their loading procedures. And here we are then on a track at the moment. And I believe, I'm sorry, I have to pause that, but we are just waiting for the drivers to get through with their setups once again, their tire strategies, just getting everything set up, and then we are going to get underway with the second race of these events, of this All-Star event provided to us by ORL. And waiting for a few moments. Yes, finally we get the timer. So 25 seconds away from it, and is going to be Be Good on pole. The AlphaTauri driver will start pole position. Then, I actually can't recall who will start alongside him in the first row, but we are going to find out in just a few moments time. And
It's KaarMar.
It's KaarMar? Okay, it's KaarMar. So it's the Alpine driver, if I recall correctly, starting from a P2. Exactly, there's the number 79 on the second slot of the grid. So going for the formation lap, and we can take a look at the tires everyone opted to go through. And Zetmir is the only one starting on hards. Most drivers quite evenly split, I would say, between softs and mediums. I believe mediums have a bit of more popularity, but it's not that unbalanced between those two tire compounds. What do you see of this?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see Zetmir starting on the hard compound, but to be honest, I'm more used to 50% race strategies. So let's see what the Mercedes driver for tonight can do. Starting on the harder compound, I mean, if he can avoid the usual confusion that normally happens on the first laps, I guess the softs at the end of the race might be very interesting.
So, just taking a look, Dark Chocolate, unfortunately, is starting from the back, as of course he wasn't able to attend this first event. And Jerson is on pole. I thought it was going to be good.
We have
so,
some last minute differences than what we were expecting. So surprise for us and for our chat. Some people asking why Zetmir is starting from 7th as well. It seems like we have plenty of eyes on our Mercedes driver. But yeah, other drivers as well in a different position from what we were expecting. But nevertheless, I think it's a very interesting grid.
Yeah, exactly. Nonetheless,
I think they did a full reverse grid.
Yeah, they did. They reversed everything, not just the top 15. And Chocolate starts from last place because he didn't take part of the first race. But yeah, I believe they reversed the entire grade instead of only the top 15. Well, it is what it is. Jerson is on pole with KaarMar alongside him. Then the other Alpine in P3 didn't really go their way the first event, so hopefully they can get going for this one. Get back in the championship fight. Everyone getting lined up on the grid. Dark Chocolate is the last driver to get in. Now, a few moments, just waiting for the race director to give us confirmation for the race start procedures. There you have it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Singaporean Grand Prix. Jerson with a slow start. KaarMar already takes the lead. It's side row challenging him as well. Darn goes down the inside of a few cars. There's contact. Jerson goes wide into turn number 2, and on the transition into turn 3 is on the outside. He's hung out to dry. It's both Alpines at the front with Darn, be good. Pablo Armengol not too far behind. Then Sefi, Jan Feiler in P7. There's Paris Burel in a scrap. There's already yellow flags as Zetmir goes down the order, but Paris Burel side by side with Jerson at the moment, getting into turn number 6, I believe this is. There's also Ignars going side by side with Patryk. Sevi trying to challenge Jan Feiler for 6th place, can't quite get it done. On the inside has to settle for P7. Also Thibaut challenging Jerson, who lost out 8th place to Paris Burel. They're side by side. There's contact once more with Jerson, but he still gets the move done. Ignars has a brilliant view of this battle. Zoltan Boda challenged now by Krutyj at the hairpin, just trying to channel his inner Felipe Massa there. Couldn't quite make the move stick. Boda trying to take a look at Thibaut. Ignars breaks later, then Patryk going to squeeze him on the outside. Hard but fair racing between the two of them. Ignars still hangs on the inside now of this chicane. A bit of contact, nothing too major though. And Patryk holds on to that P12. Quite a scrap in these early stages of this Grand Prix, Joanna.
Bug. If you were following that scrap, right behind them we have Daniel, Haddad and Bereznay having the fight of their own. For now, the Italian gets the best out of the two. There was a first lap shenanigans a bit between Dani and Nardi Perez, with the Spaniard getting the worst of it and pitting at the end of first lap. Let's see if he goes for the hard tires till the end or if he does some different strategy. But yeah, the gap seemed to stabilize a little bit more at this part of the race, although we have Pablo Armengol quite close to Be Good. Let's see if he can overtake Be Good and get together with his teammate Darn on P3.
Yeah, in the meantime, I was on board with Rorpa, who touched the wall at the exit of turn number 5, I believe that was. Hopefully that didn't leave a mark on his Williams. Ooh, it didn't for sure. He just lunged himself, almost hit the back of Bereznay there. Daniel Haddad, in the meantime, is challenging Thibaut. He's going for it around the outside. Beautiful maneuver from the Aston Martin driver. Daniel Bereznay just follows him. Opportunistic maneuver from him. And Yarpa is trying to not get left behind. Also challenges the Haas, gets a better line on the inside and makes the move for P15. Thibaut, just a slight mistake, cost him 3 positions with such a tight pack this early on the race. Thibaut really punished by that slight mistake on the beginning of the second sector, Joanna.
Yeah, the fight keeps on at the front. Be Good slightly closer to Darn, but with the worst exit on the second to last corner of this track. So probably a good spot for Pablo Armengol to attack him. There was slightly contact while he goes to the side, but I think he'll stay P5 for now. In the meanwhile, Hydro getting his first penalty of this race, so it might make an impact at the end with the gap so close.
Daniel Haddad goes through Ignars at the moment. Danny Bereznay sticks his nose on the inside of the Ferrari, trying to replicate the maneuver. Can't quite get it done at the moment. Right ahead of him, Zoltan Bode is going to get the RS on Jerson. Patryk has a brilliant view of that battle. Both of them have the RS overtake mode engaged on the Mercedes as well. They are going side by side into turn number 7. There's slight contact. Jerson is forced a little bit wide, but he makes the move stick and gets himself P9. Jerson only loses 2 places. Daniel Haddad got mighty close through all of that battle. Meanwhile, Be Good and Pablo Armengol went on a battle of their own. The Spaniard gets the advantage, but right now we are 2 by 2 by 2 in the top 6, Joanna.
Yeah, in the back, well, not in the back, in the middle of the field, Danny Bereznay finally passed the Ferrari of Ignores and tries to keep on with Daniele Haddad, who now I think will do the maneuver on Jerson. No, being slightly cautious, not wanting to get any damage on his Aston Martin. Danny Bereznay now on the inside of Gerson, a bit of let me get that position. He gets it, he stays with Daniele, and in the meanwhile, Ignars and Gerson side by side into the tunnel. Oh my god, and the Ferrari has to do a bit of a correction, but manages to grab the position. Let's see if he can keep up with the drivers in front.
Oh, Jerson at the exit of that penultimate corner goes into the wall. Fortunately, I don't believe he got damage. Jan Filler does go into the pits. Ignars as well. Paris Burel is trying to catch up. There's now a bit of a gap. He lost the RS. He lost out on the RS, sorry, wrong Red Bull there on my camera, sorry for that, but Paris Burel, there's a bit of a gap. He did manage to close in a little bit, just enough to get the RS on Be Good, who is losing out tremendously. He is on the softest compound, so he should get a bit of a performance boost, but at the moment, I believe those softs are starting to show some signs of wear. Be Good is starting probably to struggle on those red-marked tires, Rana.
Yeah, proof of that is that Hydro and KaarMar are being usually pressed by Darn, who is, well, the most I've seen him afar from Hydro is 3/10 on this lap. So the soft tires losing some of their performance, and the medium runners have now a chance of getting away. Well, first overtake and then getting away, but I believe that KaarMar or Hydro, I'm not sure, they both will stop on the same lap because they're both in Alpine, but at least one of them, I believe, might be thinking about stopping this lap.
Exactly. So, in the meantime, Patryk is pressurizing Zoltan Bode further back. Danny Bereznay is following Daniel Haddad. Who is following the battle between Krutyj and Bode? Sorry.
sorry to interrupt. Somebody forgot to tell Zetmir that he didn't have to go on the intermediate on this race.
Oh, holy. That's unfortunate. Zetmir goes on the intermediates. He didn't need to do that. Ooh, that's unfortunate. KaarMar and BenQ finally going to the pits. And they are going for the mediums.
My prediction of only one of the Alpine stopping came out good. KaarMar drops to P12 at least. Let's see, no, P13. I think the Red Bull of Dark Chocolate will get ahead of him while he gets out of the pits. In the front we have 3 drivers. Oh my god. Both McLarens going side by side. Parma Almengol getting the best of it, and now it's Hydro that he's going for his position.
Yeah, exactly. Armengol swapping positions with Darn, and despite the penalty, he got some urgency. He got the penalty. He needs to get away from everybody else. He felt like he was faster than Darn, and so he went for it, got the move done, and now he's pressurizing Hydro. Let's take a look now at this third DRS zone. He needs to maximize the exit out of this hairpin to get the overtaking attempt at least completed at the Anderson Bridge. DRS wide open. Overtake mode also turned on to the maximum on the McLaren. It rolls on the inside of Hydro, who gets a better exit. Brilliant defending there from the Alpine driver. Zetmir struggling massively on the intermediates. He is going to get lapped, unfortunately. Hydro, ooh, there's almost Armengol onto the back of Hydro. Outbroke himself slightly, locked up. That could have been that could have ended in tears for the Spaniard. Hydro looks like he's going to pull off into the pits, and Armengol is going to inherit the lead of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, he knows that he needs to pull a gap from his teammate, not exactly to get his position, but to not be not lose any more positions. 1-2 for McLaren would be good. While Hydro drops to P11, so he manages to come. I think he'll manage to come ahead of his teammate KaarMar once both have stopped. In the meantime, Zetmir finally getting to the softs. Hopefully somebody told him you don't need to go on those tires. Oh! Hydro spins at the exit of the pit lane, and the game puts him in the race line. Thankfully he ghosted and was not hit by any of the cars passing by, but he drops to P16.
Yeah, exactly. He was going to come out behind his teammate. Unfortunately, you didn't estimate correctly there, but he was going to come out behind his teammate, and I believe behind both AlphaTauris. But that spin really set him back even further. Now he has Heavy all over the back of his Alpine. Can't quite get through though, and he has his teammate getting pressurized by the Williams of Nardi Perez. So both Ferraris with a bit of urgency at the moment, pressurizing the Alpine driver who has fresher tires. So they really need to pressurize Hydro and try to make him do a mistake. Maybe some frustration settling in from his mistake coming out of the pits.
Yeah, who's also pressing the car ahead is Thibaut Courtois in 10th place for now, pressing on Timbo, who has lost a bit of contact with Gerson ahead of him.
Exactly, so they don't seem to have damage, neither the Haas or the Aston Martin, so everything is going accordingly to plan. Thibaut Courtois pressurizing Timbo, so let's follow this battle for a little bit, but in the meantime, his teammate, he is going for a challenge on Zoltan Boda. Let's take a look. Overtake, the battery is quite healthy on Daniele Haddad. Daniele Bereznay has struggled a bit more with Haddad's pace. He has used a lot more of his battery. So Daniele Haddad is going for an opportunity. Can't quite pull the trigger on it because Zoltan used a lot of overtake mode to keep up with Haddad's top speed. So he manages to keep himself in 4th place. And we have an incident. There's Ignaz.
Yeah. Ignaz was right behind Stevie, but with probably with the Mercedes that was ghosting him because they were lapping him. Was one lap behind, sorry. Zetmir trying to unlap himself might have made a bit of a confusion, arriving at turn 2 and the Ferrari of Ignaz losing control and hitting the wall.
Exactly, so Daniele Haddad still pressurizing Zoltan Boda. Daniele Bereznay just watching a little bit further back as to not get too much affected by dirty air. trying to pick up some pieces that might come from the two of them battling. Of course,
Meanwhile,
Bereznay...
KaarMar with a better exit and Dark Chocolate into the out of the airpin and up to P10, getting the position. He has a lot of gap to close if he wants to attack Thibaut Courtois, but for now, P10 is hit.
Yeah, let's not forget that KaarMar is the leader of the drivers who have pitted. Of course, that gap is because the top 9 hasn't pitted yet. And talking of pit stops, we have Darn going for the softs, Paris Burel also going for the soft tires. Let's see where they rejoin the track. Will KaarMar be able to get the jump on them? I believe he does. Will Dark Chocolate get ahead of him? He's side by side at the moment with Pigu to go for a lunge.
Interrupt you. We have Daniele Haddad trying to attack on Zoltan. Zoltan going a bit too wide at the exit of the corner, and I think Daniele Haddad has completed the maneuver and is now in P2, only behind Pablo Armengol, while they all the top 7 haven't stopped yet. So let's see where they came out after the pit. But for now, another overtake for the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, Darn in the meantime overtaking Dark Chocolate, struggling a little bit now. His tires are struggling. Whoa! Jorpa once again. He has more confidence on the brakes compared to Chocolate. Now opens the door to Hydro. Takes a look on the inside. Both drivers collide with the back of Dark Chocolate. Unfortunately, he's going through a really rough time. There's contact between Hydro and Paris Burel. Zetmir was ghosted because he's been lapped. He's able to get a much better run. Everybody else had to lift off the throttle or perhaps even go on the brakes. Zetmir says thank you very much and laps himself a little bit. Unfortunately for him, that's is a bit far off of his aim.
Gerson, there was an incident with Gerson under the bridge and he's having a tough time returning. He now returns to the track. Meanwhile, he lost position. Thibaut Courtois up to P6.
Yeah, in the meantime, Jan Failer trying to defend from Darm. He missed a bit of his braking zone at the end of the third DRS zone at the end of the Anderson Bridge. So that was a bit dicey there. Rorpa was able to get much closer to this fight, and we have a bit of a train. Of course, Hydro is now splitting that train because of that contact with Paris Burel, but at the moment, Bode and Bereznay finally going to the pits, and it is Armengol in the lead, 4 seconds away from Haddad, then Thibaut Courtois, and Gerson 8 seconds behind him, as Darn continues to put pressure on Jan Failer, as we have yellow flags, and it is Sevi who is further back. The Ferraris are really not having their day today.
Tough evening for the Italian team. I'm pretty sure that if I were Thibaut Courtois right now, at the end of this lap, I would do the opposite to Thibaut, because he's being, in my opinion, faster than the Haas driver, but he's not been able to overtake him. So I'd say if the driver in front stops, I wouldn't. If he doesn't, I would.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who bites the bullet first on that group. KaarMar swapping places with Patryk. Now Paris Burel, a bit of a late maneuver. He still gets the move done on Darn, but it's going to be a drag race now all the way down the Anderson Bridge. Let's see who goes on the brakes first. It is Darn who lifts off the throttle. Paris Burel moves up to 10th place. So good job there from the Red Bull. Aggressive, yes, but there's no damage on the McLaren, so at least he didn't put him out of contention, and Darn will surely be having his revenge further down the line. Pablo Armengol goes into the pits, so the race leader...
So does Thibaut, so it seems like Thibaut listened to our commentary and stayed out. Him and his teammate both staying off track, or out on the track for now. But on the net lead, it's now, I think it's... sorry, help me. Patryk, the first one who has already stopped. He overtook KaarMar and is now on the net lead.
Exactly. Now Pablo Armengol is right ahead of the battle between Paris Burel and Jan Failer. Paris Burel gets DRS, gets alongside the AlphaTauri, is going for the outside at the end of the DRS zone, and even Darn trying to have a look around the outside. Didn't work out, so he's going to have to settle a little bit further. But Thibaut Courtois, did he have issues? I believe he had issues. We had yellow flags, and I believe that was a moment for Thibaut Courtois. Unfortunately for him, he might start to struggle on those medium tires, and I believe he did make a mistake because the gap, he lost 6 seconds on this lap to Daniele Haddad. So unfortunately, he needed good pace to extract the most out of this reverse strategy. This mistake jeopardized his chances for sure, unfortunately.
Let's see, plenty of race to go till the end. Some other drivers might do some mistakes and he's back in the contention. Too early to speak. In the meanwhile, we have some. You have Pablo Armengol and Bigut going side by side into the corner before the tunnel, but Pablo Armengol arrives there in front.
Rorpa causing some yellow flags, unfortunately an incident for him. Pablo Armengol, I would love to have a replay of that, but that was an amazing overtake from Armengol around the outside of Bigoud. Bigoud almost lost a rear trying to give space to the Spaniard, but they both held it together. Daniele Haddad finally goes into the pits. Thibaut Courtois does the same, so it's a stack up for the Aston Martin team. Oh, and Courtois is going to drop a lot of places on that one. Daniele Haddad rejoins the track in P9, still ahead of Danny Bereznay, with KaarMar between them. KaarMar is...
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. It just got overtaken by Bereznay. So, Bereznay has some urgency on this overtaking maneuver. In the meantime, we had Boda challenging the failure. Didn't quite work out. Patryk Krutyj still leads. Be good. Swapped places a while with Paris Burel. So, yeah, a lot of action going on up and down the field. Darn are going with him with this beautiful helicopter shot. He goes wide at the Singapore sling. Daniele Haddad couldn't pull the trigger on it though. He goes for the switchback. He goes earlier on the throttle. He's going for the inside of the hairpin. He goes later on the brakes. And nice setup from Haddad, taking advantage of the mistake from Darn and setting up that overtake maneuver quite well, even though the McLaren hasn't given up just yet. There's contact though between the both of them at the end of the Anderson Bridge, and Danny Bereznay, opportunistic as ever, goes through the inside, follows Daniele Haddad once more, and pulls himself up into P8.
While you were commentating on Daniele Haddad's move, his teammate was also overtaking the Ferrari of Sevi, going up to P15. Let's see if he can close the gap to Thibaut and resurge the fight with him.
Yeah, Thibaut now has his work cut out for him. 12 seconds separating himself and Thibaut. At least he has clean air ahead of him. Looks like he's using his soft, fresh tires to pull away from Sevi. So it looks like it's going to be a battle brewing up between Gerson and Sevi in P16 and 17th place respectively. Zoltan Boda is been in scraps for the entirety of the race, and this is no exception. He's going to have the DRS on the airfield, and he pulls side by side, and the maneuver is rather academic. Daniele Haddad, though, trying to make the most out of it, goes around the outside, gets penalized for that one, but he does get the move on the unfailer, moves up into P6. So, sorry, that was not Haddad getting penalized.
It was Danny Bereznay
who got
the penalty behind.
Yeah, that was interesting. Oh, and we got KaarMar. Some issue with KaarMar at the straight right before the Singapore sling is right back to action, right behind his teammate actually. So the drivers who started P2 and P3 are quite close to each other at the moment as well. But let's see how that one develops for the Alpine drivers. Patryk Krutyj does have a comfortable lead with 3 laps to go. Second place is penalized. Paris Burel could still get second out of this race. Daniele Haddad can still get P4 from the penalties of Be Good and Zoltan Boda right ahead of him.
Very compact pack. So now we have the two Alpines back together, as you mentioned. Hydro, I think he'll try to overtake Nardi as soon as possible. The Williams driver. Between Hydro and an opportunity to attack the point position in this race. It's the Ferrari who occupies that position right now, but we'll see with all the penalties if it stays that way. In the meanwhile, in the front, we have P4 and P6 quite close to each other, with Zoltan in the middle in the Alfa Romeo, but it seems like Daniele Haddad got a better exit, even though Zoltan has the slipstream. They go 3 wide into the braking zone, and it seems like it's actually Daniele Haddad who is going to get the better exit.
But Boda does not give up. They're still side by side. Be Good has a beautiful view of this battle. Daniele Haddad got the better end of the deal, and he gets himself P4. Paris Burel over, just over 1.5 seconds ahead. Then we have Patryk Krutyj still leading, over 2 seconds away from Pablo Armengol, who's pulling away from Paris Burel. Daniele Haddad, he probably still wants the podium. He just got half a second on Paris Burel on the last few corners, so he's flying down this second sector. Burel is starting to struggle on his tires. So it's going to be interesting to see the battle between these two. Bereznay, he was following Daniele Haddad until recently, wasn't able to wasn't able to do anything more than 7th place for now. He wasn't able to overtake Jan Feller as quickly as Haddad was, and he wasn't quite able to keep up with the Aston Martin. He might still get a shot at it though, as we get in the last 2 laps of this Grand Prix. Paris Burel swapping positions with Daniele Haddad. Burel will get the DRS zone, or the DRS activation on his side of affairs, but he's losing a lot of time. His tires are really not giving him fighting or a fighting chance, as Boda now is all over the back of the Red Bull. Looks like Burel actually got a better exit out of turn 4, mitigated that his tires are not giving him many fighting conditions, but he still holds on to P4 for now. Thibaut though just overtook KaarMar. Looks like he has more issues. Yellow flags, those are sorted, but KaarMar, another moment for him.
He's at a disadvantage being in the medium tires at the stage of the race when most of our drivers are on the soft, but it's not being an easy race for him. In the front, as you mentioned, there is quite a short gap between Zoltan and Paris, but Paris knows that Zoltan has the time penalty, and so does Armengol, and Daniele Haddad knows of that. He knows he only has to close the gap to get the P2. Let's see if the McLaren driver, if the Aston Martin driver can get the position from the driver for Armengol.
Yeah, in the meantime, Dark Chocolate having a moment in the 2nd sector. Fortunately for him, Armengol has been closing in on Krutyj for the last few laps. Zoltan Boda,
let me say a word to our chat. They're saying that Zetmir was robbed. We did mention multiple times in the beginning of the race that they didn't have to use all the tires this time around, but unfortunately some miscommunication with the Mercedes driver having this result, while Zoltan finally tries to attack Paris Burel and gets P4 at least for now.
Exactly, so good maneuver from him. In the meantime, we are going to take a look at Armengol, who's been railing in Krutyj. The 3 laps of tire wear difference is massive around this track, and is really pushing Krutyj to his limits. Oh, there's... Speaking of limits, there was an overstepping of boundaries by Armengol, and this charge comes into a halt, unfortunately. Paris Burel now pretty much busy with Be Good right behind him. They are side by side. Be Good is penalized, but Paris Burel defends hard, goes into the wall, and is going to get overtaken by a bunch of drivers. Be Good gets through, Bereznay gets through, Jan Feller is going to have his attempt as well. Looks like he manages to pull it off, but at the front, Patryk Krutyj got the reverse strategy executed very well, and there you have it. Patryk Krutyj is going to cross over the line to take the win of the 2nd round of the championship. Daniele Haddad comes home P2 once more, and Pablo Armengol demoted to P3. Zoltan Boda got overtaken by Jan Feller, so it's Feller P4, Boda P5, Paris Burel P6, then Be Good, Bereznay in P8, Darn in P9. The other half of Thibaut closes the top 10, and then it's going to be many swapping of places because of penalties. KaarMar P11, Thibaut Courtois manages to get P12, Jerson P13, Hydro drops down to P14. Will he drop down to Sevi? No, I don't think so. It's too far behind, so it is Sevi, Dark Chocolate, then Ignar, Zudianef, Rorpa, Zetmir, and Nardi Perez, and yeah.
I think that Chocolate and Sevi will change positions.
Maybe because of penalties. possibly at the end of the race. Phew, another nasty incident there for Sevi. But yeah, as Joanna just told us, we informed every driver earlier on. Going through every tire compound was only for Hungary, not for Singapore. So unfortunately, Zetmir got robbed, but he got robbed by himself, unfortunately. Went onto the mediums, threw away his condition, and you can see the disappointment in chat. A bit of a fan favorite in chat today. Unfortunately, the disappointment is noticeable in chat. But right on top and gets the win of the second event. Daniele Haddad, I believe it's the second time in a row he gets P2. And with that, I actually believe Haddad is the leader of the championship. I'm waiting for ORL's decision on that one. But who is on top of the championship standings after 2 races? Armengol got P3, so good result after the Hungarian Grand Prix. Not really going his way. Started from P9, so he didn't really go his way, but he managed to pull through. Jan Feiler also from P8 to P4, so great job from him. Zoltan and Paris Burel also tried their best. Dani Bereznay, he was doing well following Haddad until they hit Jan Feiler, and then the penalty for Bereznay, 6 seconds of penalties, didn't help affairs, but there you have it. So the full grid is on display, and we are going to get ourselves back with with the boots. And welcome back to me while we sort everything out for the last round. And once again, we are going to be racing at Belgium. We are going to Spa now for a 5-lap race. It's a one-shot qualifying and then 5-lap race around Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, the first race...
No need for wet tires, right?
Yeah, no need for any sort of... Unless it rains. And it does rain quite a lot at this region of the globe. At the Ardennes region is quite known for its unpredictability in terms of the weather conditions. But we are going to have a one-shot qualifier followed by a 5-lap race to decide who is going to be on top at the end of these events, of this all-star event. And Rana, what you have to say about the previous Grand Prix and of the one coming up?
From the first event, there was one more thing that I caught while watching the stream, which was that Hydro was the first going for wet tires. I thought that was extremely ironic and perfect. But yeah, coming back to this second race, the pack was quite close, with plenty of battles, either at the front or the middle or the back. Unfortunate that Zetmir went for the intermediate tires, but he actually proved his pace by getting on the softs and unlapping himself from most of the drivers.
Yeah, he did have good pace. Unfortunately, that mistake. So that mistake from him. So going to just wait a little bit while everything is set up. I believe most drivers are ready to start the event, just getting last minute details set up, and we are going to be underway with the one-shot qualifier for this Belgium Grand Prix. And Gaunt, who do you think will get pulled for this one?
It's easy to say Dani Bereznay, isn't it? in Belgium. Yeah, it's one of his favorites, but I think that Zoltan showed very good pace on this last race. Armengol is a name that we cannot disregard, but the two favorites, I'd say it's Haddad and Krutyj and Bereznay. Although Patryk is very experienced in this game, so he can get a surprise as well.
Just a reminder for everyone regarding the points attributed to each result. As you can see, it's the top 15 that score points in this event. So we are going to get a last shot for the drivers to still claim a massive amount of points and try to claim the trophy. I do believe, I'm not sure, but if I had to guess, I would say that it is Daniele Haddad with the lead of this event at the moment. So we are going to have confirmation from ORL in a few moments, but in the meantime, let's get ourselves started with the qualifying, the one-shot qualifying for this session. And we are going to be going on board with Thibaut Courtois on his Aston Martin for the beginning of this one-shot qualifying. To follow on board with him as he gives us a tour of this classic track. Of course, is 7,004 meters long, a lap with 20 turns to the RS zones and a lap record of 1 minute 46.2. Going on board with Thibaut Courtois at the moment. So into turn 1, last source, and is now going down the hill, up through the gears, preparing yourself for the roller coaster. That is the Eau Rouge Radion combination. Goes a bit wobbly on the ascent. Nonetheless, did get together on the other side. The RS wide open now, down the camel straight. Has a little bit of time to breathe before spotting the 100 meter marker about 70 meters away from turn number 7, 8 and 9. You go on the brakes through Les Combes and now through turn number 9. Downhill invalidated lap for Courtois. Nonetheless, arriving Bruxelles at turn number 10. Very difficult to nail this corner. Now into turn number 11. You need to take more curb on the entry, then on the exit. Use that AstroTurf on the outside to get the best angle possible. Forpue touches the curb, goes for a spin. Daniele Haddad, unfortunately, and there he goes. So going on board now with Hydro closing out his sector. We are going now through turn number 13, another new zigzag combination through campus, and now Stravelo going on the brakes, downshifting a couple times, and Hydro just decides to send it. They aborts his lap, so you have to change once again to Dark Chocolates. Let's see if he completes his lap. He gets now to turn 17, now Blanchimont, very quick left-hander, maximizing the top speed of these machines. Now hard on the brakes just before the start of the curb on the left-hand side. Goes right, goes left through the bus stop chicane. Danny Bereznay gets pole. Dark Chocolate closes out a lap. Thibaut Courtois gets P15. Oh, he got stuck. Courtois got stuck. Courtois got stuck there on the wall. He still manages, I believe, to get P15, despite getting his lap nullified. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what place he got, but nonetheless, that was 16, an interesting moment. Yeah, I think he got 16th, but so we are going to need confirmation on that one. Let's see now. Danny Bereznay on pole, 2 tenths away from Patryk Rolpa in P3, then Zoltan Boda, Jan Feiler, Crazy, then Paris Burel, followed by Darn, Timbo, Sevi, then Nardi Perez, Armengol, Ignars, Zetmir in P14, Dark Chocolate, Thibaut Courtois starts from P16, Daniele Haddad is teammate in 17th, Bigood in 18th, KaarMar in 19th, and the second Alpine of Hydro starts last on our grade. Now,
well, their calculations are correct. Yeah. Let's see what Daniele Haddad can do for his championship, starting from the back again. He didn't do too bad on the other times, but on the other times he had Dani Bereznay with him, and he's now on pole position.
Yeah, interestingly, Haddad hasn't started in the top 10 in any of these races, so let's see what he does. He's been warmed up from starting at the back. Bereznay finally got himself some slack and starts at the front with a massive lap, 2 tenths quicker than the rest of the field at least. So yeah, massive lap from Bereznay, and we are going to wait a little bit longer for everything to get set up with the drivers, last minute adjustments to the setup or to the tire strategy, and we are going to get underway with our formation lap in just a few seconds, and we are going to find out what tires the drivers are going to start on. Of course, the top 10 starting on the softs. What will the remainder of the grid do? Oh, no, we don't have formation lap. I believe, and it's lights out, and away we go. Daniele Bereznay with a good start. Patryk in P2. Rorpa in P3 challenging the Mercedes. And looks like he gets P2. There's a McLaren going wide. I believe there's also a spin at the back. Thibaut Courtois already down to last place. Krutyj with Bereznay. They're side by side. Rouge and a mega maneuver from Patryk Krutyj. But here comes Boda. Here comes Jorpa. We are 4 wide at the moment into Lecombe. Let's see who's going to take the upper end. It's 2 by 2 by 2 at the moment. And it's Bereznay who takes the upper hand at the end of the chicane. He leads this Grand Prix, followed by Krutyj, Zoltan Boda P3, then Rorpa in P4, Paris-Burel P5. Crazy with the battle with both McLarens. Thibaut has a brilliant view of the battle. Sorry, Darn got overtaken by Crazy, and Pablo Armengol gets the jump on the Alfa Romeo. Thibaut has to sell for P9. Sevi though all over the back of him at the moment. KaarMar swapping places with Turk Chocolate, and Paris-Burel now drops a place to Armengol. So great maneuver from Armengol up ahead, who nonetheless already picked up a penalty, Joanna.
And meanwhile, I'm not sure if you caught on stream, but Horpa decided to do a bit of American racing in F1. So with a fantastic, I think the expression is bump draft,
Yeah.
into the car ahead, and actually helped them a bit. But yeah, for now we have Be Good and Daniele Haddad already up to P12, passing Nardi Perez in the bus stop chicane. Let's see how many laps does he need. Well, a bit of a contact between Be Good and Sevi, making Sevi go a bit wide, and Daniele Haddad says, thank you very much, I'll take it. And they go, I think, side by side into the Rouge.
Yeah, exactly, Daniele, that this could end up in tears. Haddad had to make a correction. Nardi Perez gets a massive run on the Aston Martin, but he cannot get the slipstream from Sevi. Daniele Haddad follows the slipstream, turns on the ERS mode, the overtake mode, manages to hold on to that P12.
Loses his car and loses a lot of positions.
Yeah.
He was side by side with the... I'm not sorry, I didn't catch the name.
I believe it was Rorpa. It was probably Rorpa.
They were side by side. I'm not sure if he didn't have enough space or what happened. He lost control of the car and they both lost a lot of positions, but Armengol clearly the worst out of it.
In the meantime, Nardi Perez got a beautiful view of Daniele Haddad getting on the inside of Sevi through Pujon. Gets himself 10th place already. Looks like things have stabilized a little bit, so maybe we can take a look. What about that? Maybe we can take a look at Ignars now, who's really on the pack. Hydro has a beautiful maneuver of that, but maybe now we can take a look at the tires for each driver. And they are all on the soft. Sevi trying to challenge. There's contact, and there's 3 drivers in the wall. Both Ferraris and the Alpine in the wall. Hydro managed to somehow regain control of his machine, but the Ferraris, what a disastrous day for the Maranello best squad.
Did we travel into Interlagos Raceway?
maybe. Hydro though got himself P16 now at the end of that, right behind Pablo Armengol. Sevi retires from the race, and now we have Rorpa all over the bed of the back of Zoltan Boda. Let's take a look at the onboard with the Williams. Everyone is slipstreaming off of the leader, so not really a chance to overtake. Hydro does overtake Armengol into Rouge. Daniele Haddad battling it out with Be Good. There's a bit of a squabble between the two of them. There's contact. Daniele Haddad has to correct his machine. Coming out of Lecombe. Goes on a bit of a look on the inside of Bruxelles. Be Good closes the door. Very nicely done. Very nicely executed that defense from the AlphaTauri. Is going onto the grass. I do believe that's quicker in qualifying, not necessarily quicker in race stream. Daniele Haddad did get a better run through P1. He's going to the outside of turn number 13. He's going to have the inside of Compass, and he's looking to go on the inside of it. Wow, what an absolute battle between the two of them. They are still going side by side into Stavelo, but the fight is settled for now. Be Good still ahead. Daniele Haddad with overtake mode pulls himself alongside Be Good, who's also with overtake mode engaged. Nardi Perez having a beautiful view of that battle. And let's see who is the first to bite the bullet on the braking zone. They both brake at the same time. Be Good gets the inside of the last corner. Daniele Haddad carries more speed to the outside and gets the move done, I believe. Or will he get the move done? Nardi Perez has to back off. He wanted to get in on the battle, had to back off. Be Good tried to pull off a switchback, couldn't do it because Nardi Perez was there and has to settle for P10. Beautiful battling between these two guys.
In the meanwhile, ahead between Bereznay, Patryk, and Zoltan, there was a bit of earned peace in the sense that I thought that Patryk was saving it all for the last lap, so he could attack Bereznay with no chance for Dani to answer. But he lost a little bit of time on this last lap, and he looks a bit more like a target for Zoltan than properly Dani a target for him.
Exactly, Paris Burel though, he will lose massively with that penalty. Armengol is already last. Let's see how that one goes as we have Be Good once again going on that outside AstroTurf before they approach into P1. Ignars has retired. Let's take a look now. Haddad taking a look at the outside of turn 13. This time around he can't quite pull the trigger on an attempt. Nardi Perez is really being patient with this one. He's really hoping any of those two makes a mistake, but they are doing a brilliant job of battling each other without losing too much time to the front and without costing too much time to the guys behind. Daniele Haddad peaks at the outside of Blanchimont, can't quite get himself on his nose alongside the rear diffuser of Be Good. He's going to try it once more. Be Good goes later on the brakes. Nardi Perez goes on the outside, tries to surprise Daniele Haddad, goes on the inside at the exit of corner number 20. As we begin the last lap, it's now Haddad having to contend with Nardi Perez. KaarMar though gets from out of nowhere and tries to make a move on both of them. He overtakes Nardi Perez. Can't quite get the move on Haddad, but Perez does get a better exit out of last source. He's going for it. He had to lift off though, but he's going for it for sure after this chicane. But Danny Bereznay and Patryk Krutyj are side by side at Lecombe, and Krutyj got the lead at the end of this DRS zone. Boda with a brilliant view of all of that, but this could have been the final sentence on Bereznay's hopes of winning unless Patryk makes a mistake now.
It was quite brilliant race, but they were they turned on the overtake modes at the exit of turn 1, and they only turned it off at the end of the straight. Both of them. It was simply amazing, giving it all. Dani with the disadvantage of not having a tow ahead of him, and Patryk managing to close the gap and overtake the hard driver.
These two are getting quite aggressive, banging wheels from all the way through turn 12 onto turn number 14. Daniele Haddad looks like he got the better end of the deal though. Danny Bereznay is saying that this is not over yet. The overtake mode deployed with the slipstream aiding him. He goes on the inside of turn number 19, gets a bit squeezed, goes on the inside of 20. It's going to be a drag race now, but look at that. It's Patryk Krutyj takes over the win of this Belgium Grand Prix. Boda in the nick of time grabs Danny Bereznay's second place. Bereznay has to settle for the last spot with the last step of the podium. Crazy in P4. Paris Burel gets P5. And what a scrap did we get on the last few moments between the top three, Joanna.
Yeah, amazing. Danny trying all his best to get the first position, but while they were scrapping with the ties on each other, Zoltan said, "Thank you very much. I'll take what you give me," and got the P2 at the finish line.
So, second win for Patryk Krutyj, and I believe this could actually be the winner of the event. So we need ORL to do the standings, we need them to do all the maths, but it's pretty close between Bereznay, Haddad, and Krutyj. I believe the Mercedes driver might be on the top of affairs, as we have, of course, the standings, and there you have it. So Daniele Haddad got P9 at the end, as BenQ dropped down all the way down to P14, so a mistake from the Frenchman. Dark Chocolate P16, and KaarMar Thibaut Courtois couldn't go above P17, unfortunately, and Pablo Armengol in 18th place. Ignars and Sevi, both Ferrari drivers, retired, unfortunately. And ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere, because we are going in a moment. We are going in a moment to interview Daniele Haddad, Dani Bereznay, and Thibaut Courtois. So don't leave your seats. We will be back after this interruption for some words from our sponsor. And we are back to the commentary booths, and we are able to get our interviews underway, if I can say. And we are going to start with the winner of the last two races, and I don't have confirmation, but he might also be the winner of these events. Points total, Patryk Krutyj. Welcome to the commentary booth, and what do you have to say about this event? Of course, the first race I don't recall going your way as, or at least as well for you as the other two ones. But overall, what do you have to say about your performance?
Well, the first one was very interesting, obviously, with this forced strategy to be on every compound. So medium, softs, hard, inters, wets. And I didn't know what to expect. And I went down on the wets, and there was no grip at all because I overheated them completely outside, on the exit of the box. So that was very weird. It was the first time for me experience driving on wet tires, on the slick conditions. So it was very, very interesting. And till the last lap, you didn't know in what position you're gonna finish. So that's why this race was actually pretty damn interesting, and I would like to see it in the future, maybe in some kind of leagues. So yeah, P5, then Singapore. It was pure luck with traffic, but also with the strategy because my viewer told me to pit on lap, I believe 6, and I did that. And actually, the strategy was right. And also, I just could manage to overtake slower drivers. And in the final race, it was just a battle with Danny Bereznay. I was surprised that he didn't let me by on the last lap to get DRS. And so I got it and I overtook him. And till the last corner, we did fight. I had to close the outside on the chicane. I know it was quite aggressive. I don't know what Danny gonna say, but obviously it was just a fun race. But yeah, it was on the limit, and I won the race. So yeah, it was very exciting and pretty happy with my performance.
Yeah, unfortunately for Danny, we're going to get his words as well. But unfortunately for him, he even got photo. He got botased by Boda there at the end. He lost P2
Okay.
by photo finished. So unfortunately for him, he had to drop to the last step of the podium. Rana, do you have any questions for Patryk?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe maybe talking not only about this event, but you are part of our usual grid. Um, what this was this a preview between you and Danny for this weekend?
What was the preview? That was the question, yeah?
Your battle, yeah.
The last race in Spa.
Yeah, because
Can you repeat the question?
you are both racing in
Yeah.
ORL, right? So
Yeah.
is that like sort of a preview of what's to come in battles between you two? Because you are massively talented at both.
Well, with Danny Bereznay, I didn't race in the previous races, so I hope he will be there for the next race in Belgium on Sunday, so we can have a race. But he's amazing on Spa. I think it's his favorite circuit, so it's so difficult to beat him there. But we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it was a fun race with him today. Hopefully, the same will happen on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure it was. But well, Patryk, still waiting for confirmation on the standings. But nonetheless, thank you for dropping by, and well, good luck with your upcoming racing.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so now we are going to have a few words from one of our guests, of course, Real Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. And Thibaut, good evening. And to start things off, I would like to ask you the same as I asked Patryk. What do you have to say about the races? Of course, the last one didn't go your way. You invalidated in qualifying, and then at the race you fell down the order. But what do you have to say about the event overall?
No, it was really nice. The event, I think, especially the first race with the different tires. I think it was fun. Maybe I should have done the wet a bit earlier to not have it the last lap because then maybe I could have been P6 or 7. But obviously with the wet, I lost too much time in the last two sectors. Singapore was also fun. Maybe I should have pitted earlier to have like undercut and not be in traffic, but was also good fun. And in Belgium, yeah, I tried to push it a bit in the quali and I went a bit wide, so that was unlucky. And then in the race itself, I fell a bit down, and then obviously in 5 laps, it's impossible to fight back. But the most important was really good fun, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would like to ask you how did it start for you? Like, how did this F1 part of your life started and the gaming started, and how they came together for these events? Were you always a fan of Formula One?
Yes, I love Formula One since many years. I think the first time I've been to a practice in Belgium, I was maybe 9, 10 years old. Uh, so yeah, I always followed it, and I think since well, I played the Formula One game maybe already in 2012 or so, but not really just with a controller. And then since 2, 3 years, four maybe already, yeah, with the wheel, the rig, and everything. So yeah, I'm learning a bit from Daniele Haddad, my teacher sometimes. So I hope I can practice a bit more to be closer to the top guys, and to battle with them. But in general now with so many games, it's more for fun in the evening sometimes. And yeah, maybe if I practice a bit, I can gain still like half a second or a second. But let's see.
Let's see, indeed. Joanna, do you have any questions?
Ivo was mentioning his games and how it made it a bit harder to be at a higher level in F1. Do you think that the reflexes you get from being a goalkeeper help you in the game, or you think it doesn't matter at all?
No, for sure. I think maybe having those reflexes can help when you have to make a decision or when your car is almost spinning or so. Um, but I think the reflexes help maybe more in real life than in than in the game. But still, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think the thing I
It's a
have
bit of a
more,
practice.
yeah, like I think the thing that I have more maybe because of being a top sporter is or what Daniele always tell me is that I learn really fast. Like he tell me one thing to do like this, and the next lap I can already do it. I think that's also something to do with yeah being able to learn fast and so. Yeah, let's see. Maybe for the next event, I can fight with them for the win and not in P10 or so.
Just one question. I'm getting a request to ask you that. So, you said you started on a controller. You are now on a wheel.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Could you describe your rig for us?
I I I have actually three rigs.
Okay.
So I had one for the PlayStation, was just a Sparko one that I sit like I don't lay down, I sit. But then a few like last year, I bought a real simulator from Vesaro, like a real Formula One car almost. But there I only race like iRacing or Assetto Corsa or so. Like it's more simulator because it's really like more a sim. And then now I did something with EA Sports, and they gifted me a rig with the play seat and a podium Fanatec. And the rig itself moves also, so it's with motion, so it's pretty cool. So I guess I have to decide which one I drive because on PlayStation I drive the other one, on PC I drive this one. So it's sometimes difficult to get used to both. So I probably should stick with one and then and then there learn more.
Yeah, of course, the behavior of your peripheral, get the muscle memory for it, and makes it easier
Indeed,
probably to focus on one. Yeah. Joanna, I give you the word again.
Always dropping me with the tough ones. Um, you mentioned that you got a podium quite recently from EA. Um, do you like using a higher force feedback level, or do you just want to use it later so you don't have to do as much force while you're driving?
It depends. Like I try to find, I think, a good balance. Also, maybe when you do long races, I think if the force feedback is too high, obviously it makes your hands tired and your arms, and I need them in trading and in the game. So, uh,
That was
I,
actually what was behind the the question.
yeah. No, I like to feel that it's not too soft, so that like it's you feel you're driving the car, and obviously it's really nice technology. And when you go over the curbs and you feel it vibrating, I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I like to have a good feedback, but not that I'm tired or after the race, you know.
Okay, so Thibaut, I think this is all from us. Thank you for dropping by, and thank you for taking part of this event. It's always nice, of course, people outside in other areas of sports also being involved. Of course, with the higher accessibility now that the racing games keep on having year after year. It is people like you and those other events where you raced with Norris as well and Albon, and that helps. You need to grow that helps notoriety for racing games. Gives us more options for further events like this one. So thank you for dropping by and thank you for your word.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was really nice to be part of this event, and I think yeah, since the first lockdown almost 2 years ago, I think Formula One esports really grow a lot with the drivers, the real drivers racing and virtual GPs and so. And yeah, it's a really cool thing. I love the game. I hope that next year it can be even better without all the bugs that are in the game. But otherwise, I think it's a fun game to play, and especially with a wheel, I think it's yeah, it's one of the few video games that you really can enjoy as almost real life. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly. Thank you for your words, and well, hopefully see you in another opportunity.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
Now going to take the word with Dani Bereznay. Dani, good evening, and what you have to say about your performance in the event? You got in a lot of battles with well, following Haddad almost every single time Haddad was overtaking someone, you were taking advantage of the opportunity to overtake as well, it looked like, especially at Singapore. And then awesome battle for the lead at Spa. So what do you have to say about all that?
Yeah, obviously, I'm not happy with the P5 in the championship standings, and as if only I win the last race, then I'm P2, so that's a big difference. Basically, at the end, the battle with Patryk costed me 3 positions, and also I maybe once he overtook me, shouldn't have taken so much risk that even Zoltan overtakes me. So yeah, there the from P3 to P5 it was only 2 points difference, and I lost 3 points there, losing P2. And yeah, but with these stock setups, it's pretty tricky. I didn't know we are going to use this. I'm not the fan of the understeery cars, to be honest, and I always added the front wing as much as I could when I pitted, but it was still understeery. In Hungary, I think I had the pace. I was in front of Haddad as well in the middle stint, and we were at the same strategy. But then at the end, we splitted our strategies, and I think their one just worked out a little bit better. But maybe they were just faster than me on the intermediates in the dry conditions. I don't remember making a mistake. I was surprised that I wasn't even close catching them in Hungary. And then in Singapore, basically Haddad saved the day for me in terms of any result, because if I couldn't have followed him, then I would have not gained any positions, as I was just not fast enough. He was, I think, at least 5, 6 times faster than me. I don't know what he did different there, but it was really not my circuit. And then at the end, I got 2 penalties, so I fell down from P5 to P8, and obviously I wasn't satisfied with that. And then in Spa, I think I was the fastest. I trusted myself. I didn't want to get in a big DRS battle to cause any incidents or crashes or anything. I tried to defend against Patryk, but obviously the leader in Spa, with the more than 20 seconds fell out section, DRS and big slipstream, is at a really big disadvantage. And I had plenty of ERS. Patryk had plenty of ERS as well, but I thought I will be fine. And to be fair, he really nailed all his breakings. I think I'm a late breaker in a field of esports and in a field of any leagues. But when he's on the inside, he has the position, so he can do anything he wants, and he really nailed that. It's not easy because when you break at the wrong point and you hit the inside curb or you hit the car who is on the outside, you can spin very easily. And he didn't make any of those mistakes in neither of the occasion after the camel straight or after the last big flat out section before the bus stop chicane. And yeah, it was nice. I know I could have done things differently, but all in all, I really enjoy the event, and I'm really happy to uh, be able to participate here. And I hope you plan more things like this.
Thank
Uh,
you for your kind words, Danny. I was actually going to leave this question for the end, but since you mentioned about the being one of the late breakers in F1 esports scene, the first question that I'm actually going to ask you is: have you ever broke a brake pedal?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was actually during a live esports season. At home, I never broke a brake pedal, but at the actual esports, I did, as it was
I remember
probably
that. I remember
manufactured
that.
differently, and I actually lost a race winner, so that's not a happy experience for me. But then I used the 65 kilo load cell, and now I use the 85, which is stronger, and this one is far more reliable so far than the previous one.
Okay. Um, One other question being, you've been at Mercedes, Alpha, and now are at McLaren. Talk us a bit through how different the experience were with the different teams.
The experience is very similar as the cars are equal, and you have to do the same job year after year. I think the teammates matter the most, who you spend the most time practicing. We are professionals in this game, and no manager, no performance coach can really help and replace the job that we do. So I think the difference was my teammates. Obviously, for me, every change of teams what was a bit of a step up at the time. I left Mercedes because I felt like at Alfa Romeo I have more long term opportunities, and then with Veloce Esports, who act as my management, decided to have a try at McLaren. And obviously the last esports season wasn't perfect for me, but when racing is so tight, all minor details cause you lose not one, not two, but positions to half of the field.
Very well. As one of the most experienced in the F1 e-paddock, if we can call it, how do you see the evolution of your fellow drivers through the years?
Yeah, so I think more and more people wants to get involved in esports. Prize money grows, exposure grows, and now it's a realistic career opportunities for the one that are really talented in the game and passionate about racing in the simulator or with this F1 game. And it just gets harder and harder every year. It's crazy to think that we are beating literally 150 200,000 people every year to be able to at least fight in the top 20. And then obviously from the top 10 you need to be top 10, and you need to be racing to score points and fight for the championship. And I have huge respect for the guys who've been here for years and been at the top consistently, because it's not something easy to do. I know a lot of people criticize esports over real racing, for an example, but in real racing you don't have this amount of opponents who have the equal conditions to you, and in real racing you have limited testing, so you rely more on your talent. But here you really need to be persistent to be up there.
Nobody's stopping you from doing 1,000 laps before you go for a esports event, right?
Yeah.
Danny, getting a bit away from the track, I have two questions for you since we just had Thibaut here. I would like to ask if you're any good at playing football.
Yeah, I actually played football at at a young age for a couple of years. I've actually been a goalkeeper as well, and I'm a Real Madrid fan. But when I started to support Real Madrid, Iker Casillas was the goalkeeper for Real Madrid and Spain. So I really grew up being a fan of him. But now with Sibo, I think he was replaced with a very talented sportsman. So I'm really happy for them, and I think their success in the recent year shows that it's been a great choice for Real Madrid. And it's crazy that I'm playing with such a sportsman on a virtual track, and I'm really happy that I was invited here, and I'm really happy that um, this event was organized like that.
Well, if I may say so, that makes us at least four goalkeepers this evening in this booth, as Racebook and myself were goalkeepers as well. Thank you, Danny, for this short interview, and all the best in your future races.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
We are now going to interview Daniele Haddad. Um, was leading our championship until the last race. A bad qualify complicated it a bit for you, Daniele. Give us your vision of this event.
Hello, first of all, I was a goalkeeper, so and I was
It's
even
5.
enough good. So
It's
it's
five.
five. But
Nice.
yeah, no, apart from everything, I honestly thought that the event finished in the second race because the third one I didn't know was happening till like at the end of the second one. So the third one for me was like fun. But that's no problem. I mean, I don't have any issue for that. I'm very happy about how the event went, and I think you can have a bit of fun watching the races, and that's the most important thing. Hungary, I was enough good. I ranked P2, which was decent, and Singapore, I think I've done a very good race, overtaking quite a bit of cars, so it was exciting for me as well to do it. In Spa as well, the fight was good, but yeah, if I knew it was for the championship, probably I would have been a bit more focused in the quali lap without invalidating, and maybe fighting with the 2-3 guys in front that were fighting for the win. So, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, of course, it was a fun event for you, especially with all the action. You didn't start. I don't believe you started from the top 10 in any of the
No, no,
events. But
always last.
now, yeah, sorry.
Always last, basically.
Yeah. But now you have the lead in ORL because you won at Canada in that chaotic can. Uh, how do you feel now going into the next race?
Well, I feel good. I feel good. Obviously, when you come from a win, it's always positive. I think I'm very good on this game. I'm driving well. I am consistent, and yeah, everything can happen. But I know that if I drive in a good way, I will have my shot to try to win. I have good rivals in front, which will never be easy to beat. But I know I'm one of them, so I will do my best to try to keep on this wave of my first race and winning the championship.
Yeah. Now moving on to the more professional side of things, if I can say that, how do you feel now? Of course, just ended. What are your feelings, your expectations now for the upcoming season?
But for me are good, honestly, the expectations, because already this season I'm not very unhappy about how it went. Obviously, my races were very unlucky. I had 5 or 6 races where I had crashes, and most of the time not of my fault. So obviously I wasn't happy about the points. But being 8 times over 11 in Q3 and this field very complicated shows that I am enough fast to fight and dream something more. So I need to do another step to try to be in the top 5, which is basically my goal now. The first year I struggled. The second year I was a bit better. The third year I think in quali always better. So I expect a better result if possible.
If I recall correctly, you were still at the team when it was Racing Point, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was from Racing Point to Aston.
Yeah, exactly. So did a lot change for you, your interactions, your environment? Did anything change majorly when you went to Aston? Of course, I would say the same organization, but yeah, in a different name.
Yeah, well, in reality, everything changed, even the organization, because even if the team is the same, we learned a lot from the Racing Point years, and we didn't make the same mistakes this season. This season, obviously, we were a bit more close to the top guys with all three of us, with Lucas being a tiny bit higher because on this game was feeling very well. But apart from that, honestly, I think that the organization has been improved, and obviously Aston Martin brand is Aston Martin brand. We are speaking about the top brand in England and not only in the world probably. So being representing this team must be a privilege and not the opposite. So for me, it's obviously very exciting to represent a team like that.
Okay, well, that's everything from us. We want to say thank you as well for dropping by, and of course, a big thank you from everyone in the backstage in the ORL organization. Who also thank you for helping make this event possible. And well, thank you for your words, and hopefully another opportunities to come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your words. Now, jumping back to the boots, this is everything from us. Of course, the action won't stop right now. We will get back to action Sunday as we are going to race at the classical Spa-Francorchamps, the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and we are going to be having action there. But before that, we actually have another invitation for us. We have some words with Bereznay's teammate from our event. We are going to speak with Thibaut. Hello, Thibaut. How are you doing? And what are your feelings towards your performance in the races and the event overall?
Hi guys. First of all, I was a goalkeeper for half a year,
6 of us.
and thanks for the organization. It was pretty nice event. I enjoyed all three races, and I'm pretty happy because I finished in all three races in the point. It makes me happy, and I had some tasks also on the last race because Dani Bereznay, my teammate, was fighting for the podium uh, last race with Haddad. Also, I'm in the final standings, and Haddad had a bad quali, and I my task was to hold Haddad behind me, and it was very important to don't give him and his opponent be good DRS. Uh, I did it, so I was very happy on the last race also. And on the first two races, I fighted with Courtois uh, all the time. Uh, and on the first race, he finished in front of me with 2 seconds. I had very bad performance on the wet tires in the dry conditions. But in Singapore, he couldn't overtake me, even if he was close sometimes, and I was without DRS. But yeah, at the end, I could celebrate the points or the point. I think I finished P10 in Singapore, so I'm pretty happy because nice guys, nice pace from the esports drivers and from the good drivers, and really enjoyable evening and event with all the other guys. So real nice.
Joanna, do you have anything to ask?
Um, Hi, Timbo. Not in particular. Not sure if there is anything you'd like to add to what you said till now, Timbo.
Hi, Joan. I think that was all what I wanted to say, and thank you for you also for the uh, for your job and for commentating. I have to watch it again because there are many big fights and nice battles, and I hope I can enjoy it again if I watch.
Yeah, it were some exciting events for sure. Lots of action up and down the field. Of course, the field was very close, so it allowed for lots of action, especially with the reverse grids and all that. So yeah, Thibaut, thank you for your performance, for your words as well, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Okay, see you later then. Now, finally, we are back to the booths. We are going to be wrapping up everything. Of course, once again, Sunday we have the race at Spa-Francorchamps, so will be interesting to see how certainly exciting race. Lots of top drivers. The field is very close, so the race is surely going to be exciting. From me, Ruben Race Bugmania, and from side me, Juana Gaunt Beat. Hope to see you next time, and say goodbye.